Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a very special Thoughts On series. This is the show where I talk about things that I've consumed recently. This is going to be a little different, though, because I'm going to do a little bit of a retrospective on, Star Wars. Because I love Star Wars. It's my second favorite series, nerd franchise of all time. Second only to Mega Man. This was actually the first franchise that I got into because when I was young, I first saw these movies when they came to cable in the early 90s. Now, I was born in 88, so I was born 11 years after the original Star Wars came out, and 5 years after the Return of the Jedi came out, 5 or 6. So I didn't get to see the original 3 films in theaters initially. So my opinion is going to be, I think, different than most people's on this, but I want to talk about these because I love Star Wars. I even have a picture where I can show myself, even before I could spell my name, I was able to spell Star Wars. In kindergarten at the drawing table, I would take a piece of paper and fold it in half to make a book and just write Star Wars over and over again. Yes, I could write the word Star Wars before I could spell my own name. Take with that what you will. I love Star Wars. It's a franchise I really love. I've loved it since I first started it. When I was a kid, I had to have been 3 or 4 when they came to cable. We had a TV guide, and it was a big event that Star Wars was going to be on cable. And I remember my dad took those pictures and pasted them on a VHS, and he recorded all 3 Star Wars movies on a VHS in standard long play, so the tape probably doesn't work anymore, but that's how I originally experienced Star Wars, was through that tape, until the special editions came out in 97, where I got to see the movies in theater for the first time, which was an experience that I can vaguely remember, but it was amazing. Getting to see these movies on the big screen. I actually recently rewatched A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back on a projector screen, and that was the first time I'd seen it on a big screen in a really long time. I've been a fan of Star Wars for a long time. I've been a fan of all the movies. So I thought, why not take this opportunity before Rise of Skywalker comes out and talk about all the movies? So this video is mostly going to be focused on the original trilogy. I'm going to try to go through it as quickly as possible, because what can I say about Star Wars that hasn't already been said before? This isn't the only version I own. I actually own the 95 release on VHS. I own the 1997 release as well on VHS. This is the 2004 DVD set that's in widescreen. This is the version that I've played the most. I think I've had this DVD set for 15 years, because I got this on Christmas of 04. So as of Christmas this year, I'll have had this DVD set for 15 years, and I have played the heck out of it. I'm also going to focus on the movies for this. I'm also going to talk about some other stuff. I'm mostly a fan of the movies. I'm not big into the expanded universe, but let's just get to it. So the original Star Wars trilogy, original Star Wars it's a classic. It's a classic film, that still holds up, but it's kind of rough. But I'll get into that in a second. Empire Strikes Back, one of the greatest films of all time, one of my favorite movies of all time, next to Miami Connection. But if we want to be serious, it is my favorite movie of all time, Empire Strikes Back. Probably one of the best sequels of all time, too. And Return of the Jedi is a decent way to end this original trilogy. It has some good parts, it has some bad parts. But let's start with A New Hope. A New Hope, like I said, it's a classic film. It's got the classic hero archetypes. It's got the hero's journey. It's got our classic characters. You've got Luke, who's the hero. You've got Obi-Wan, who's the wise wizard. You've got the swashbuckler in Han Solo, and you've got the comic relief in robots. I think it's interesting that the first third of this movie is just about robots, which probably in 77 was weird. But of course today, robots are everywhere. Even that Droids animated series, which we won't talk about. But yeah, it's a great film. I can still put it on any time. It's rough, and you can tell because they basically used the best shots or as much of the best material they could use in the editing. Like, there's a fantastic video on how Star Wars was saved in the edit, because this Star Wars was a mess when it was being worked on. Like, it didn't make sense. The flow was all wrong. The reason the movie flows so well is because of the editing. And that's why it is a mess, because it's like, there's certain things that it's not, the edit makes it so it's not jarring, but holy shit, like, you look at some things and then you look at later parts of the series, it's just like, man, they really did what they could. But that was the thing. Like, Star Wars was a movie that had tons of problems. When they went to Tunisia, like, to film in the desert, it rained, had the worst rainfall they had in 50 years there. Everybody working on the movie thought it was dumb. They didn't think it was going to be anything good. So everybody thought this movie was going to be a pile of crap, and it 180'd and became one of the biggest franchises of all time. So I don't want to get too far into it. I love the original Star Wars. It's not one of my favorites, but it is high up there. It's still a classic. Empire Strikes Back. This is the one that everybody talks about, and for good reason. Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie, in my opinion. It's a perfect second act. One thing that was interesting about the first movie is technically if you only watched just Star Wars and didn't watch any others, that's fine, because the original Star Wars ends with everything resolved. However, Empire Strikes Back expands on those and goes into deeper meaning with the characters. You get to see more humor. You get to see more better character development. Irvin Kershner is a fantastic director. I haven't seen his other films, but I can tell from this that he's a fantastic director and he understands characters, because that's what Empire Strikes Back is about. It's about the characters. It's dark. It ends on a cliffhanger, which means that pretty much everybody's going to see Return of the Jedi. Don't want to spend too much more time with that. Just say Empire Strikes Back is fantastic. If you haven't seen it for some goddamn reason, watch it, but you're going to have to watch the first movie first to get what's going on. And then finally, Return of the Jedi has great action. The character development is developed a little more, but not nearly as much as in Empire. Though it's one of the ones that I feel like the pacing is off. There's certain things that don't feel right. Sometimes it takes too long for the characters to get anywhere. I do like the stuff with Jabba. I do like the end fight scene, the end, but that middle section, man, that's the part that's really hard for me to talk about. It's in recent years, people have talked about how they feel about Return of the Jedi. I still think it's a great film. But it's definitely got a slow middle part, so just know that going in. But yeah, the Jabba stuff's good. The stuff with the Empire, the space battle, the stuff on Endor, it's all a great film. But it is slow. So in general, I love the Star Wars trilogy. It's one of my favorite film franchises of all time. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Definitely. Like, my recommendation, I don't know how I could recommend it more than everybody already has, because these films are fantastic. But yeah, these are great movies. If you haven't seen it, you've probably heard about it a million times. So what are you going to this video for? Anyways, that's my perspective on the original Star Wars trilogy. I'm sorry this is not as coherent of a review, but what can I say about Star Wars that hasn't already been said? Guys, definitely follow my other stuff if you want to see other stuff or more episodes of this series, because I am going to do a few more, including talking about the newer movies. You can follow me on Facebook, Zero Master fan page. Follow me on Twitter at Zero Master. If you want to support me, get early access to videos and get behind the scenes extras and a whole lot more, Patreon.com/Zero Master is a great place to do it. And I stream on Twitch.tv on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I just hit 150 followers on Twitch, so I now have new badges as well as a Zenny, which you can earn just by watching and use to get other benefits. But anyways, guys, I'm going to stop talking now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next episode of this little Star Wars retrospective. Take care, and may the Force be with you.